What's up YouTube? Jeremiah Hersey here, and this is the 5th episode of my No to Pro series. Today it's all about how to split a column. So we're going to look at several different ways that we can split a column. Let's say that your data is not looking the way that you want it to and you need to separate it. We're going to talk about several different ways to split a column here today. If you want to follow along, just click the link down below in the description. That'll allow you to download a PBI file and you can follow along with me. Let's go ahead and get started. So here we are in our Power BI desktop, and as always we're going to go back inside our Power Query Editor and we're going to select Transform Data. So I'm going to just click the UI button here at the top and it's going to transport us over into the Power Query. Now for today we are going to be working in the stock item table or query over here on the left hand side. So remember that a query is the same thing as a table. It's just named a query here inside the Power Query Editor. The column that we're going to be focused on is the stock item column. Now my data is already separated in a way that is beneficial to us, so we can see the color and the size that was derived from this column right here. But we're going to pretend for a second that we don't have the data and we need to split this column up, the stock item column, to get the information that we want. So first things first, go ahead and select the column. So go ahead and select the stock item column so it's highlighted. And the two ways to split the column, the first way is up here at the top using the split column UI. The other way is to right click on the column header and to choose the split column option. So you can see we can split the column and we have all the same options here as well. So those are the two ways that you can split this column up. You can right click on the column header and choose split column, or you can use the split column UI here at the top. Your choice. There's multiple ways to do everything within inside the Power Query Editor. You find what works for you and do it that way. I'm going to do it both ways here today. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the split column option UI here at the very top. So go ahead and click that split column option, and the first option that we see here is by delimiter. So a delimiter is anything that separates data. It could be a space, it could be a parenthesis, it could be a comma. A delimiter could be a lot of different things. And so in our case, what we want to do is we want to take the name and we want to split it off from the color and the size. That's what we want to attempt to do here today. And so we can see that we have a option to do by delimiter, by the number of characters, by positions. We can also do lowercase to uppercase. And so as we look here inside of, let's find a option. There we go. So the lowercase m to the uppercase a would be an instance where you could use this one, lowercase to uppercase, or uppercase to lowercase. Down here, whereas Halloween, the capital H goes to lowercase a. So that's those two options. We also have options for digit to non-digit. And so that would be an instance like here where we're going from a 0 to an M, so a digit to a non-digit, or the reverse of that where we're going from a non-digit to a digit. So lots of different options here. And so I'm just going to choose by delimiter to be my first option here. So the UI appears. Notice that it automatically tries to detect the delimiter for us. So when you choose split column by delimiter, the Power Query Editor is going to automatically try to choose a delimiter for you to use. And in this case, it actually chose the correct one. Now, notice we have several options on how we want to split. Do we want to split from the leftmost delimiter, the right, so you can go from the left, from the right, or each occurrence of the delimiter? And so for us, I think the one that makes the most sense is the leftmost delimiter. Now, you do have a advanced option down here when you're going to split this column, do you want to split it into columns or do you want to split it into rows? And so by default it is set to columns, and that's what we want to use, but you do have the option to split that into rows as well. So we'll go ahead and click OK. And we'll notice that it splits it nicely, right? We get the name of the object now, and we have the color and the size broken up here on the right hand side. Now, once again, we always want to make sure that we name this properly. So we're just going to call this stock item name. So we'll just call this stock item name here. And let's take a look at how we can split maybe this stock item 2 column. So let's go ahead and select this stock item 2. Once again, we can choose the way that we want to split this. And so notice that I could also split it. I can split this column by the space right here, or we could go non-digit to digit. But as I look down here, the non-digit to digit would not work because this doesn't actually have digits in it. It just goes from text. And so I think the best way to do this would be to split the column once again by the delimiter, because if we choose the number of characters, let's say we chose 5 for here to split, it's not going to work when we get down here to light brown. That number of characters isn't going to work. And so while in some cases we do have the option once again to right click on the header, we're going to go down here to split column. So we could split by the number of characters, and I'll just show you that real quick. We're not going to do it, but I will show it to you. So we'll go ahead and select number of characters. So notice I can put in here 5 once as far left as possible. I'm just going to show it to you, but then I'll remove it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and split this column. And so notice exactly what I was talking about as we get down here to the light brown, right? Part of it's cut off because of how we split it. Now I do want to show you an option. Remember that everything over here in the applied step section is recorded, every step that you make. So we split the column by position and then it changed the type. Once again, I'm not going to actually split it this way because it doesn't split it correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this step, the split column by position, and I'm going to right click on it. When you right click on that step, you're going to see an option not only to delete it, but delete until end. And so this is a really cool option because it not only deletes this step, but every step underneath it. So it's a quick way to delete them all without having to sit there and click the X on every single step. And so I'm just going to right click and choose delete until the end. And we can see that our column now comes back. And so we're going to split this a different way now. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to choose split column. I'm going to choose delimiter once again. And notice that this time the Power Query editor picked up the closing parentheses as the delimiter. And so once again, choose the leftmost delimiter here. And now we have not only our stock item name, but we have, I'll call this color 2, since we can't have the same name. And I'll call this size 2. Well, as you can see, there are lots of ways to split a column. You just have to make sure that as you split that column, you make sure your data is still valid and it still looks the way that you want to. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more content, and I'll see you in the next one.